Hey everybody, this is Studs. Today I'm recording a tutorial for PvZ that was played between Classic and Serral on Acid Plant. That was game one of their semi-finals played at the Intellectual Masters Katowice. We're going to be taking notes on the build order so that you guys can try and reproduce it as well as possible. I was actually going a little bit too fast here. I'm going to rewind all the way back. And yeah, the goal is really to be teaching that build order to everybody so that you guys can do it as close as Classic does it. Like obviously Classic is pretty incredible and it's going to be hard to do that consistently, but if you guys can do it, I'd be pretty happy, and the Zergs that you face probably wouldn't be that happy. Just one quick note before I go into it. I think this is a very good build to do against Zerg that plays pretty greedy, doesn't necessarily all-in much, and on this map it's perfect. We're again on Acid Plants. A lot of Zergs, they will only send one Overlord that they will place here. Maybe they'll have a second one here, but a lot of the time they won't. And even if they do and they scout this, it's still so hard to get enough units that you can defend against it. There is a couple of lanes that could be dangerous to you, but it's not that many. So yeah, let's get into it. I have my txt file open. So at 0.08, Classic sends the probe to down the ramp. 0.08, send probe to make pylon at expo. Save that. Usually I use the supply count to describe what it is time to do and stuff, but I think it's almost better in the start because like there was no particular supply at which he did that. It's better to mention the timestamp for at least the first action. So after that, 15 out of 15, he rallies and takes the gas. 15-15, take gas. With probe, that comes out of nexus. Then heads to natural to make... Ooh, okay, well, another. Then heads to natural to make gates. See, he went down, then he made the gate. The first 3 minutes... I want people... Like, this is not a long game. This is a less than 6 minutes game. So I want people to get it as right as possible for 6 minutes, blunt reality. Keep 16 probes on minerals. Next ones go to gas. So here's the thing about the 16 probes here. It's that up to the point you build up to 16, you're gonna wanna try and put 2 probes per mineral patch so that they don't like keep moving from mineral patch to another, so that your mining is optimized. So this is definitely aimed towards the higher level. I can even rewind here a little bit so you guys can see how Classic does it. Like he already has 2 here. He picks one patch in which there is only 1. Boom, 2. And then you make sure that they stack. And if you do that and you have 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, they are mining in the most optimal way. You'll never have a trouble where like, you know, you have 16, but then one patch is only 1 probe, and then you got a rogue probe that's bouncing back and forth between mineral patches. Like this is actually the most optimal. So see, he's gonna do 2 here as well. And then here as well. He's on 15 right now. The last probe that's missing is here on this patch. So as soon as Classic will have done that, what does he do? He brings that one back for a little bit. Straight to gas. This one, straight to gas. He will never touch these ones ever again. They are going to be 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 on every single mineral patch. So optimally mining, basically. Next is 19 out of 23. Rally to natural and make nexus. Actually, I'm going to make sure he does that first. Like I'm only assuming that's what he's going to be for. Yep. So we're going to write that. 19 to 23. Rally nexus to natural to make nexus. I think the best way, by the way, to use my notes is either to print what I write or to rewrite it yourself on the paper, have it on your second monitor, but make sure you study that text. It's very important. 21 out of 23. Use probe that made nexus to make cyber core in wall. And obviously it goes without saying you should kind of wall like this. On this map, it's not too hard. Gate core and then either like 1 more gate or 1 more pylon. It's usually the way it goes. 22 out of 23. Second gas. And then pylon. The pylon placement is obviously like don't make it at your natural. You need to make it in the main to have enough space to build around it. I think you could actually even put it there so you can put your buildings up there in case an overlord flies in, but Classic just put it down there. I guess he knew, like most Zergs, they will only send one overlord across the map. By the way, with this build, you don't, if you want to do the exact same build as Classic, you don't scout, but then you're exposed to dying to all-in. So if you want to scout, I would say, for somebody in lower leagues, if you fall victim to a lot of cheeses, maybe scout after gateway or even after pylon, but keep in mind you're going to lose quite a few minerals for doing that. So now, see what Classic does. 3 on gas. Immediately, I'm not going to write that down. It's obvious. Like as soon as you get a gas like this and you have 16, you put 3 and then he immediately rallies on natural. Twilight Council. Actually, he started an adept. I'm going to go back a little bit to make sure I write that on time. I'm not going to write that you need to keep on making probes. I've mentioned it before in previous tutorial. It's evident. So that was 24 out of 31. Start adept, then Twilight Council. Wait, I guess, yeah, well, so the Twilight Council will be at 26, I guess, after you start an adept. I don't need to rewrite that. You chrono boost the adept. I guess he wants to at least get a minimum of scouting and also apply some pressure. During all this time, you always should know, I mean, unless you play somebody that doesn't do it this way, but almost everybody does it this way, there is an overlord here. So if you're down there, that will be here. And this is why you start a stalker. After adept is made, send it across the map to scout and make stalker. And in the meantime, you keep on making probes, you chrono boost them if you have energy. Now Twilight finishes. We are 35 out of 46. And Robo is going to go down. 35, 46. Start Robo. And then I think Charge will follow shortly after. When he will have 100 minerals. Yep, so 35. Start Robo. Then Charge. Keep in mind, he even cut probe production for this. Oh, that's when he stops mining gas actually. I'm gonna pull back a little bit. Yeah, you need 200 gas. This is the thing. So 100 goes towards the Robo because the Robo costs 100 gas, and 100 goes towards the charge. So he starts the Robo. If you've done the build exactly as him, then you can stop mining gas. Start Robo, then charge, and stop mining gas. Transfer probes to second. Actually, transfer gas probes to second. There we go. I should have made that a little bit bigger. Okay. Second, yeah. I didn't write down that you needed to stop warpgates. I'm gonna go back just in case. I don't want to forget a step. I don't want to do a tutorial where I don't list warpgates and like somebody's like, actually, did I? No, I didn't. Okay, so you start adept, then twilight, then warpgate. Okay, it's actually pretty important. Yeah. So I want to make sure that I got that on the replay. So started, then twilight council, then warpgate. Important. Don't forget that. All right, we're almost back at the point where I was before. So that adept goes across the map. I would recommend keep that adept alive, like scout with it. The goal is to go here, shade it here to see what there is, and then pull back. Cancel the shade at the last second, then go home. So now we got the Robo. Don't mess this up. Don't lose this adept. I think it's much better if you can keep it. Stops mining gas, Robo. Now the next timing is going to be when he drops down the gates. Kind of pushing creep back. This is also pretty good. He hasn't seen much. I mean, he saw there was a third, which usually Zergs from here will be joining up. If you're doing this build order, and a bunch of links jump on top of your adept, go into panic mode at home. Drop down gates, shield battery, pylons, start rewalling, make units. Get more gates, like behind here, rewall. This is your one scout that will protect you against a lot of these all-ins. Okay, I'm gonna go back a little bit. I want to make sure I get the timing right on those gates. Very important is that, remember, you make this stalker to deny any overlord from scouting. Very important. We remember there is an overlord here. You want to prevent that guy from flying into your base. So that's why you keep the stalker around, but also remember that this guy, a lot of the time, he will stay here. Spot your wall, spot your saturation, and see whether you take the gases. If there is a Zerg here that at like 3 minutes 20 sees that there is no gas, and he has a roach warren, he's going to be making only roaches, and basically he's going to have a decent chance to defend you. So you want to sell your build. So after the robo, again, he starts charge. And then what does he do? Like ideally as well, I think you want to stop around 16-ish here on this nexus. He's actually cut at 15. It's similar enough. Like right now you need to let your minerals go up because you're gonna start a lot of gates. And there we go. The first 2 gates. So it's at 35. It's still at 35. This is pretty crazy actually. He saved all of these minerals. So it's almost hard to write down exactly how he does it, but I'm gonna try. So at 35, he's not making anything anymore. Okay, it's right there. I want to see how much minerals he saves. So he transfers. Like this is the key moment where like the build order could be executed wrong. He stops mining gas. Let's see how high his minerals go. He transfers this. He checks the main base for an overlord. He has almost 300 minerals. Okay. At 350, okay, 35 out of 46. At 350 minerals, starts 2 gates in main and 1 in wall at natural. And then he will add more than that. So it's like a first wave and then into another one. I have no idea, Shadow. I think what you should be asking is about the hotel. I think the casters that are there are damn fine. He starts another gas. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Still 35 out of 46. Start gas at natural near overlords. And then, well, let's see how many gates he makes. 1, 2. It's gonna be 4, I think, because he's 8 gates. There we go. Okay. Plus 4 gates extra in main. And then, I mean, I don't even need to see it, but we know what follows. You don't need to saturate the gas, I think, by the way. Like, just making it, because Zerg will be watching here. Zergs, they will like, you won't necessarily watch now. I don't think many Zergs would have the skill, or just in general will be watching this all the time. So he might look here, see that the gas on the way is like, oh yeah, no, he's macroing. Nothing to worry about. Except, prism starts. The prism is immediately after, so I'm even gonna put it in that one sentence. Prism start and rally it across the map. Now, your warpgate is gonna line up decently well with when the first set of gateways finish. And you don't want to miss any warpin. Remember, you brought back the one adept, by the way. You can make a few probes in the meantime, but don't overdo it. Oh, actually, no, he did saturate the gas. Okay. Okay, let's say saturate gas on natural and get enough probes to have 16 on minerals there. That's what he's gonna do, I'm guessing. The warp prism is directly rallied across the map, but will pick up. You leave the adept in your wall back at home, but you will at least pick up the stalker. So now that his gates start finishing, it lines up pretty well with one charger finish. Like, it's really a beautiful build, guys. Flies past the Zergling, kinda hoping he wasn't spotted. Like, obviously, it's Serral. He was spotted. All of the gates have been morphed. You need to make sure you get that on time. And I like that. Actually, I think I was wrong earlier. I said, like, he made these gates first, so maybe he was gonna warp in first. This is actually bad. If you just morph 3 more. I think he was like, okay, 1, 2 here. plus here 3, plus the main one that he had. If he had morphed this first and then these ones, he would have had 2 warping cycles to worry about, which is very important. Whereas now, how many warping cycles does he have to worry about? A single one. He does 8. He will move here, do 8. Move here, do 8. It's so much better like this. So I think it's like much better executed like this. Obviously, if you have some extra chrono boost, you can maybe throw it in there, like if you think it's going to be really close. And now there is some decision making on where you want to attack. Here's the thing. Classic doesn't have the information on what Serral's doing. In this game, he kind of got lucky. Like obviously, it's almost forced luck. Like Serral does have his image that of going, you know, for sometimes for Ling Hydra. I mean, even if there are roaches, you can still win. It's just going to be harder against roaches, especially if the Zerg has been cutting drones early. Like if you look at the walker count, 47. I don't think Serral completely overdid it. Against this build, you obviously want to cut earlier, and you want to have roaches. But 47 is not like 60 or something. 60, like he would have died even harder. So, like if you look at the units, he's got 12 links against what's about to be plus 8 zealot, plus 8 zealots, and he's trying to go into hydras, but the hydra is not even finished. Serral starts a spine, but now without having the info, keep in mind like your goal is going to be not to let your war prism die. You need to prioritize one of the bases, and you need to pick exactly which one you want to go to. If you send everything to the third base, maybe we'll evacuate it, get enough units there and there to defend, and then you've lost. Like you're very committed to killing the opponents and doing very well with this attack. One thing I should have written down is the pylons timing, because he stayed on 35 for so long. So he added 1 on 38. Okay, let's just say 38 out of 46. Start 3 pylons. I think that's pretty good to do it like that, because then you really make room for the zealots that you want up in. We're going to speed up a little bit. And then you do one big warpin. When prism, actually, when all 8 gates are ready, warpin, 8 zealots, while prism is headed across the map. The thing though, thought people aren't Grandmaster. The Zerg will probably have 45 workers anyway at this point, and maybe more army anyway, just because lower league. Yeah, but the Zerg, he's not a 7k2 MMR Zerg below GM, and he will not be as good as Serral. So obviously somebody that spams roaches will have a better chance to hold this. But here's the thing, I think this works even against a Zerg that took roaches, as long as he took the third base. If he's on two bases and he's already messing roaches, then you might have to transition, and still, you might still even kill him, just because it's so hard to defend this kind of attack. So, here's what Classic does. Send Zealots into the third, and send the Prism and do the big warpin into the main. Why does he do that? And by the way, he picked up, I'm gonna go back a little bit, he picked up as many units as he could, I believe, in the Prism. So it's like gonna be 4 units plus 8 in the main base. See, he picks up 4 zealots, changes it to, actually no, so it's what? Okay, so it's gonna be 10 units. He wanted to have a good mix on the left hand side. Why does he do that? Because Serral, against this kind of attack, he wants to buy time, he wants to kite. Even if he had roaches, like say, Classic sends everything here in the third base. What does Serral have to do? Kite, pull back, kite, pull back, kite, pull back. Rejoin with more roaches from here. If he buys enough time and he has any good start, any head start against this, Serral's gonna win. Like you need to completely kill and shut the Zerg down from the start. So Classic, by doing this, sending this on the left and this on the right, he says, you can't micro into places at once. I have charge lots. As much as like you need to micro a little bit, it's not like, you know, they don't run in by themselves and kill everything. So he's kind of taking the option of microing away from Serral in at least one of these 2 spots that he's going to get hit from. So he goes for the main and the third. I really like that choice. And you can do this build on some other maps as well. It's just that the execution on this one was perfect. Jumps right on top of the units, like by threatening the economy. Keep your War Prism alive. Like if you lose your War Prism, like you might as well live, by the way. So one important rule about War Prism, don't warp in 8 zealots here and then leave it here, not doing anything, even if it's covering here in this area. Do your warp in, put the War Prism in this form, and then start flying away. don't keep it just there, because somebody's going to send 3 queens, snipe it down, and then you're going to have lost the game. Or be in trouble in a game that you usually should win. I like that Classic realized there was only drones there and the queens went for the main, so he's like, okay, you want to try and defend there? I'll send the Zealots to do damage elsewhere. Look, the War Prism is still being chased here. This is beautiful what Classic is doing. Goes straight for the economy in 2 of the bases. Again, hitting in 2 places is taking the micro potential away from Serral. And this time, he felt so unsafe from the queens, and he knows that Serral is super smart. They said, you know what? These guys are already doing well enough. I'm even going to warp in outside, so you have absolutely 0 chance to kill that War Prism. It's so beautiful. Like, perfectly executed. Look at this, 18 Zealots. It's raining Zealots! It's raining Zealots from the sky. This is like the Legacy of the Void trailer right there. They're retaking their land here on Acid Plant.
Hey Todd, keep up the good work. Really been enjoying your streams lately.
Thank you very much, Santis. That was spontaneous. I didn't turn off the alerts, so congratulations. You'll be in my YouTube tutorial video. But yeah, thank you, Santis, for the $25. Yeah, so that's it, guys, for this one tutorial, which I believe is going to be named It's Raining Zealots. The excellent execution by Classic. Like, if you go for Zergling Hydra, which a lot of Zergs, I believe, do, it's going to be very hard to hold this. And let me rewind a little bit. Like, you guys, no matter what league you're in, if you're trying to do this build, I would say, like, obviously the lower league you are in, the harder it's going to be for you to keep up with the execution. But if you can hit, let's see the exact timestamp of the second big warpin. 504. If you can have, what is it, 7 Zealots hitting your opponent's third base, and 8 Zealots being warped in your opponent's main base, with these units being dropped there, at 504, you're as good as Classic. And you should be winning the GSL. So, I'm even going to write it. 504, second warpin in main. Congratulations. You are a dishonorable Protoss. Alright, that's it. Thank you guys.